We're just going to get started in just a minute. How's everybody doing today? Hump day. How's the weather where you are? So we are going to get started in just a minute. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for coming back. This is going to be great today. It just gets better and better. It's cloudy in Malaysia. May, you get the prize. I'm so excited that you're here again. You are a trooper. You will be rewarded for your commitment. And just wait a minute. I'm not sure why Carrie is pinned. Okay. Okay. Guys see me okay? All right. So today is day 3. Howdy, Carrie. All right. So I am so excited to share with you today. We're going to talk about eating for metabolism. And, you know, we have been building all week around our mindset, our habits, and I want you to go into the group and make sure that you do your homework, because basically by the end of the week, we're building a plan around this. And so I want you to be able to walk away with something that is valuable that you can utilize going forward. So be sure to do your homework assignments. They're very easy. So I'm going to, okay, just letting some people roll in here. And welcome, Lisa from Utah. Awesome. And I'm just super excited to be with you today, and just take a deep breath into what you've been able to learn this week. We really have been shifting our paradigm around our vision of health. And it's not just about weight loss. It's really about changing our vision of our health, and really, defying that aging curve, right, in our midlife, and also tuning in to our body and our mind, with Krista Mashonas yesterday. So that stuff is like super important to be able to do your homework and actually take the steps this week to really commit to yourself. And I'm super excited about what I'm about to share with you. So again, your DNA is not your destiny, your lifestyle choices are. And what you eat now and how you move and how you live can change the script completely. It's all about the choices, and you have the power to change that script. You do, you have the power. So, again, what does unstoppable health mean? It means limitless, no physical barriers or mental barriers to achieve the goal that we want to achieve, to achieve our dreams, to be able to live out a life that has meaning and purpose in all the things that we want to do in terms of serving our families and serving our dreams and feeling amazing, feeling unstoppable. And the synchronization of our mental, emotional, spiritual, rational health is all a synchronization that needs to come into play. It's not just about the food you eat, but it's about the habits and mindset. And we talked about the 3 pillars of our optimal vitality, and it's both nourishment on and off the plate. It's about our habits and our mindset. And I hate to continue to repeat myself, but these are so important. It's not just about what you eat, because if your habits are broken, or if your mindset is in a place where you don't believe that it's possible, then it's going to be impossible to actually move things forward. And your health, we're talking about your health, what it's going to look like 20 years from now. So it's really about what you're doing right now that's going to seed your ability to actually live out a life where you're ballroom dancing at 85, 90 years old, or you're skiing, or you're running marathons. It's totally possible. So you know that it is. And what you do right now is the most important step. And we talked about day one, where's your gap? So go back to your homework assignment and post under this post, where's your gap in terms of what's the biggest challenge for you? Really think about where is the biggest gap for you so that you really can focus on that going forward. And then what is the new habit you will try? So we talked about habits yesterday, and I whirled through so much. And, thank you for sticking with me. I was rushing through so much. I want to give you so much this week. And so I have so much information and content that I want to share with you that it's probably a lot. And I'm going to try to simplify that as much as possible today. And so let's focus and get our minds in a place to receive, in a mindset to receive gifts, receive the generosity of our health, that our bodies have the ability to do to recover our health. So we're going to talk about what you eat actually affects how you feel. And we're talking about nourishment today. And so please take your notes, have your notebooks and pens out. And also today, I want it to be a little bit interactive so that I answer the questions that you need to have desperately answered. And use this time and opportunity to, when I open it up to questions, I really want you to be able to jump in. You can chat your questions, type in your questions into the chat, into the comments. But basically, I want this to be interactive and for you to really take advantage of the opportunity for me as your coach to be here to support you, okay? So hunger is the physiological call to food. It's the physiological call to food. When we are hungry, our physical hunger builds up gradually. And actually, our physical hunger is patient and it can be satisfied. But our appetite is the emotional call to food. And when we are having an emotional appetite, it comes on suddenly. And our emotional appetite is insatiable. So a lot of people have trouble distinguishing, is my hunger, am I truly hunger? Am I hungry in my physical self, needing the hunger and nutrition? And oftentimes clients say, oh, I have to have some kind of, sugar or granola bar or this or that. They have it in their pocketbooks. They have it in their cars because they think they're going to die if they don't have the physical, satiation. But in my training programs, I help you distinguish what is physical hunger versus emotional hunger. And I want you to continue to think about that, because when we tune into our mind and body, we can distinguish the two. So I want you to think about right now on your notebook, I want you to draw a picture, a big circle on your notebook. I want you to think about what's on your plate typically. What's on your plate typically? What's for dinner usually? What's in there? And what does it look like typically? And most people have a protein, they'll have a starch, and they'll have a vegetable, maybe at most. Some people have foods that really don't have a lot of color in it. So I want you to think about what your plate, your dinner plate typically looks like on a daily basis. And I want you to chat and put into the comments what that looks like typically. Or if you want to unmute yourself, that's fine too. So take a minute to do that. Think about what you normally have for dinner and what that looks like. Doris says veggie, meat, and rice. And I want you to think about basically on that veggie, meat, and rice plate, what's the portion? What's the portion? So if you have 360 degrees, a big circle, divide that plate and tell me basically what veggie, meat, and rice consist of on that plate. Just think about it. So I want you to think about that and make note of that. So I do have to talk about sugar. So Americans consume, Carrie says, meat, fish, veggie salad, sometimes a small amount of starch. Okay. Tacos and tortillas. Okay. Rice, a small amount, a few times a week. So let's talk about what refined sugar does. And refined sugar is actually not sugar that you have in your cake and cookies necessarily or in your coffee. Refined sugar is hidden in a lot of foods. And refined sugar has zero nutritional value, zero vitamins, zero minerals, zero enzymes, zero fiber. And refined sugar actually causes inflammation. Okay, so it causes inflammation, it causes hypertension, obesity, it causes mood disorders and depression and nervous tension. It actually could give headaches or skin irritation or acne, adult acne, and it can even produce violent behavior. Let's think about the foods that surprisingly have a lot of sugar. And most of these foods are marketed as healthy foods, right? So the healthy choice meal that's convenient, or your yogurt that might be convenient, that's in a cup. But the formula is this: 4 grams equal 1 teaspoon of sugar. Okay, 4 grams equal 1 teaspoon of sugar. So if you are incorporating a significant amount of processed packaged foods in your diet, whether it's the jarred spaghetti sauce, whether it's your granola bars or your cereal or your frozen meals or your frozen pizzas, okay? All those things that you have in your pantry and in your cupboards and in your refrigerators and freezers. Think about that. If you look at the back of the ingredient panel, 4 grams equals 1 teaspoon of sugar. So let's look at this Yoplait yogurt, which is an American yogurt. But one yogurt, this dairy yogurt, actually, we're not counting calories. Calories don't matter. I want you to really think about this, because in the programs that I offer in terms of weight loss programs, we don't count calories. Calories don't matter because calories can range from, a lot of calories can range, you can have 1,200 calories a day on average. And basically, if you're not eating the right food combinations, it can be completely sabotage your fat loss goals. So look at that Yoplait yogurt, and that's supposed to be a health food. That one Yoplait yogurt actually has 26 grams of sugar. So 26 grams divided by 4, what is that? Doris, you're the math wizard here, right? So that's almost 6 to 7 teaspoons of sugar. 7 teaspoons of sugar in that 1 cup of yogurt. And that healthy choice meal that we conveniently pull out of our freezers and microwave. And maybe some of you have had Weight Watchers meals or take home meals. Some of those have hidden sugars that amount to 13, 15, 20 grams of sugar in one meal. So sometimes diet programs will give you the meals, and then, basically it's based on caloric restriction. And those people who have tried Jenny Craig's or Weight Watchers or any of those kind of meal based programs, it's all about caloric restriction. So imagine if you didn't have to worry about calories, but you started thinking about your food components a little bit differently. So I want to show you something. This is the standard American diet, and this can apply to Malaysia too, because American foods are all over the place, right? And think of this person thinks they're really being healthy in terms of the diet that they have on a day-to-day basis. And one cup, they'll have their Cheerios or their cereal, okay? So they'll have for breakfast a cup of Cheerios. And that one cup of Cheerios equals 2.5 teaspoons of sugar. And who has one cup of Cheerios in the morning? American sometimes has 3 or 4 cups of Cheerios, cereal in the morning, and because you know what it is, it's empty calories. It's not nutrient dense. It's empty calories. It's just calories, but it's mostly sugar. So 1 cup equals 2.5. Then they drive to Starbucks, right, on their way to work, and they get their Starbucks Frappuccino with the whipped cream and all the doodads and all the extra sugar and all that stuff. That one Starbucks Frappuccino is 17 teaspoons of sugar in 1 cup. And then what do they have for lunch? They're going to be healthy. So they're going to go pick up a spinach salad with some cranberries and maybe some nuts and things, right? So that's not so bad. It's only 1 teaspoon of sugar. And then instead of the Coca-Cola, they're going to pick up an iced tea, right? And that's 9 teaspoons of sugar that they had for lunch. Then at 3 o'clock, they start feeling a little tired. Who has little 3 o'clock crashes? Who has 3 o'clock crashes, afternoon crashes? They feel a little tired, So if 3 o'clock rolls around, they grab their Lara bar, which is a granola bar, right? And they just have a snack. And that snack is 6 teaspoons of sugar. And then for dinner, they're being really, really good about dinner. They're going to have a whole roasted chicken and maybe half a sweet potato. That's 1 teaspoon of sugar. And then, of course, at the end of the night, after their wine, and, we didn't even count the wine in this, but essentially, if you look at, you're going to sit down in front of the TV and have a little Ben and Jerry's or ice cream. That's another 6 teaspoons of sugar in your half a cup of ice cream. And half a cup is just 1 scoop, okay? So think of how many scoops are you typically having of ice cream. So this one person who thinks that they're being generally really healthy is having 42.5 teaspoons of sugar. I want you to think about what your daily intake is in one day. How much you're eating in terms of think about what you eat in one typical day from breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So the American Heart Association recommends, I want you to guess this. What is the American Heart Association, which is a health organization that recommends certain amounts of sugar for heart disease? What do you think is the recommendation for a number of teaspoons of sugar in a day? Added sugars. Just chat it in or put it into the comments. What do you think it might be? Doris says 10. It's a good guess. Anybody else want to guess? Carrie says 200 grams. Okay, that's quite a bit. Yeah. So 200 grams is, almost, I'd say 20 teaspoons. Yeah. Teresa says 8. Yeah, you guys are really close. So the American Heart Association recommends for men about 9 teaspoons of sugar and 8 teaspoons of sugar, added sugars. That mean added, like hidden sugars that are beyond just whole foods. in your American diet, so in your typical diet, to prevent cardiovascular disease. So this one person that thinks that they're eating really a healthy diet is actually having 42.5 teaspoons. Let's just say average is 9 teaspoons. So that is, oh my gosh, that is like, how many times more, you know? So that's like 5, 6 times more sugar than we actually, um, or six or 7 times more than we actually need in one day that the American Heart Association recommends for cardiovascular disease, right? So I know for a fact that people are consuming more than this. Some people are consuming 100 teaspoons, 200 teaspoons of sugar in one day. And it's built into snacks, it's built into convenience, it's built into a lot of foods that you don't even realize you're not counting all the sugar that's happening, you know? So think about that. What does it do to you? Listen, food is medicine. And if the American Heart Association recommends to only have about 9 teaspoons of added sugars in your diet per day, and they're having 5, 6, 7 times more, maybe 10 times more than what is recommended to prevent heart disease. This is where heart attacks come from, is sugar, not fat. I'm going to make sure you understand this, and I'm going to get more into this. But food is medicine. And actually, what you put into your mouth and into your body and consume on a daily basis actually can harm you. And you think that you're nourishing your hunger and that you don't want to get hypoglycemic, meaning low blood sugar, because you might faint and die. But essentially, what you could be putting into your mouth on a day-to-day basis can actually harm you and cause disease. Let's talk about anti-nutrient foods. So nutrient deficient anti-nutrient foods look like this. So they could be in a box or a wrapper or a fast food or donuts or wine or beer or bagels. This is empty calories. This is food that you think is convenient and that is nourishing you, but it's not. It's like eating cardboard. Essentially, it's like eating cardboard. And most people live their life having this on a daily basis all day long, whether it comes in a snack form or in a meal form. And you think orange juice is healthy? 1 cup of orange juice is 30 grams of sugar, 30 grams. So you think it's healthy to have orange juice, but what you're drinking is a sugar mix, okay? So there's really the vitamin C and in a Minute Maid orange juice is very, very little. It doesn't matter how much vitamin C is because the amount of sugar in that 1 glass of orange juice is significantly high. And it's really these nutrient deficient or anti-nutrient foods actually deplete your vitamins. It takes away. If you take vitamins on a day-to-day basis, like a multivitamin or vitamin C or D or B, basically if you are eating these foods on a day-to-day basis, it's taking away your vitamins. It is completely depleting your vitamins. So you might as well throw your vitamins out the door, because if you're eating like this, even half the day, even one meal a day, you're actually depleting any kind of micronutrients that you have. Lisa says, what about the fact that orange juice contains no added sugars? Is there a difference? Yes, because fruits are fructose. That is another form of sugar. So if you think that having fruit all day long is healthy for you, it's not. Because fructose, which is the sugar that comes from fruit, is not good for you all day long. In the American saying, the doctor says one fruit a day, one apple a day keeps the doctor away. Basically, who's having more than 3, 4, 5 servings of fruit all day? If you are munching on those little clementine oranges all day long and you think you're getting vitamin C, what you're doing is feeding your body with sugar all day long. There is very little nutrient value in having sugar. There's no nutritional value. And this is such a myth because people think that, oh, well, if I have fruit or if I have a juice, a fruit juice with no sugars, that it's going to help me. But let's think about what exactly is in your foods. This is called nutrient dense foods. And what is the difference between this and this? This is nutrient. This is nutrition, whole nutrition. It doesn't have a wrapper, no box, no cellophane, no a container, except the tea. Um, it's whole foods. It's real food. It's fatty fish. It's chicken. It's vegetables. And you see the color in these vegetables. It's a rainbow color. Okay. So if you're sticking to the same type of vegetables on the same day, every single day after day, because you think you just like broccoli and not other leafy greens, you're having a very limited variety of vegetables. Okay. So having whole food nutrition, even bone broth, and having more water in a day can actually change your weight loss goals. And eating in this manner is so much healthier. It is nutrient dense. So bite for bite, having a piece of fish like a salmon or a chicken versus having something like this in terms of a KFC or a bagel is a world of a difference. So once you have that bite of bagel, it's like so nutrient poor, it's taking away your vitamins, it's taking away your nutrition. So your nutrient dense foods are very important in terms of weight loss and in terms of really having an energy that's going to be sustained all day long. And I want to get into a little bit of the science behind this. Food directly also affects your mood. You know, maybe we have food sensitivities and allergies and we don't even know it, right? So if you're having psoriasis or autoimmune issues, digestive issues, IBS, these are things that are telling you that there's something going on. The food that you're eating is actually not working for you. And that food is data. You know, you could actually be consuming levels of toxicity in your body and not even realize it. And it affects your adrenals and your neurotransmitters. We talked about that a little bit yesterday in terms of our hormones, right? And weight loss is a hormonal game. And so we talked about dopamine, our pleasure hormone, and then cortisol in terms of our stress hormone. What we eat actually feeds and makes those hormones in your body. And so food actually directly affects how you feel. So when you have significant amounts of sugar, you think that you're happy and that it feels good and that you feel satisfied, but it's actually not producing the kind of hormones that you need to have balance. And what you eat affects your mood and your brain. And all these hormones like the serotonin, those are built in our gut. So what you feed in your gut in terms of food that goes into your mouth and digests into your gut actually produces the hormones that we need to feel happy, our happy hormone. And in our gut, there is a direct correlation between um, uh, oh, Jen Cormier says, yes, I used to drink OJ all day long. That's not good. Yeah, yeah. So there's a direct correlation. This is a medical study that says there's a direct correlation from what you feed your gut to your brain. So if you're having brain fog and it's hard for you to concentrate and you feel tired all the time, there's something going on with your diet. And I want you to be really investigative in terms of the food that you're eating. Sometimes it really requires a clearing out. And so there's a direct gut brain access. And if you feel depressed, if you feel sad, or you don't feel hopeful, believe it or not, what you eat can actually affect your mood. I want to talk a little bit about insulin response. So, insulin is your hormone that basically regulates your blood sugar. Okay. And this is directly responsible for, oops, directly responsible for your fat loss. Okay. So, when we eat, we actually raise our blood sugar. It goes up normally. Okay. Whatever we eat, whether it's junk or actually nutrient dense foods versus nutrient poor foods. But it releases a hormone called insulin. And our insulin hormone's job is to break down what we're eating and actually put it into our liver to process, to make energy. It distributes our glucagon stores into, or our glycogen stores into producing energy, producing, or if there's too much sugar, it actually stores fat. So our insulin is responsible for breaking down and putting the sugar where it needs to be. Okay, putting the food energy, the calories, and the glycogen stores into our muscles, into our brain, into our liver to process into energy to rebuild tissue. And so, if you have an excessive amount of sugar, or excessive amounts of high carbohydrates like bread, rice, pasta in your diet, which turns to glycogen, the same thing as you would have a muffin or a cake. It's the same thing. Okay. Rice is the same thing as a muffin or a cake. Okay. And because that's how our body reads that. That's how our body reads that piece of food, whether it's rice or pasta. So it doesn't, you think you're being healthy by having that rice, but actually it's the same. Our body reads that cup of rice as same thing as a donut, okay, or as a cookie. And basically, if you are doing this all day long, from the morning you wake up having the piece of toast and having a sandwich bread, or lots of pasta salad in your lunch, all of that is accumulating. It's accumulating in your blood sugar. And what your insulin does is, if it doesn't have a place to go to process, for our bodies are very efficient. It processes and just takes what it needs to produce energy. And if there's no room for it, then it creates fat cells. Okay. So that's how we actually get fat. It produces fat cells when we have too much sugar or too much glycogen stores where it has no place to go. And if you're sedentary, if you're not moving your body and expending that energy, then basically we are just storing fat. And it may be little by little by little. And that slow drip of everything you have from the time you wake up to the time you go to sleep, that whole total accumulation in your day can actually generate more fat cells. Does anybody have questions? I'll pause there. Doris says, I know it is hard without rice for Asian diet, but I try to keep a small bowl. Yes. So certain people from different parts of the world have different body compositions. Everybody's different. So how Doris processes sugars and carbohydrates is different than maybe how Jennifer does it or Kia does it. So basically, everybody kind of responds a little bit differently, and it requires a close investigation of what is really happening. But if you are carrying over 50 pounds of body fat, you know, if you're carrying over 50 pounds of body fat on your body, or even 20 pounds, or even 30 pounds of overweight, obesity, then you just don't have storage. You don't, it's just producing more fat cells, producing more fat cells. And it's almost like that small bowl of rice you think is not that big of a deal is actually causing inflammation. So fat is actually inflammation. When you're storing that glycogen stores where it has no place to go to release as energy, you are actually producing inflammation. And this is when in our midlives, in our 40s, 50s, and 60s, that we actually start experiencing pain and inflammation and autoimmune issues and IBS and so forth. So again, back to appetite and hunger. It's all a hormonal game. Our brain has two hormones that tell us when we're full and tell us when we're hungry. And when you have had so much sugar over time, so much carbohydrates over time, our bodies are accustomed to receiving that data, and our hormones get tired out essentially. It's kind of like abuse of alcohol. It's just like it continues to get worse, right? So your body's ability to tell your brain that I'm hungry or that I'm full actually starts not working. So these two hormones actually are very important to signal to your brain that I'm done or that I want more. Can actually be affected by excessive insulin resistance. And insulin resistance worsens with age. And basically, what happens is that if you've been having a significantly high carbohydrate diet, which means over 100 grams of carbohydrates in one day, or over 50 grams of carbohydrates in one day, some people have 500, 600 grams of their entire diet is carbohydrates. And if you're having that in a daily basis, sorry about that, your insulin stops working and it basically stops doing the job that it needs to do. And all it does, so in terms of distributing that nutrition to produce energy, to produce muscle, to produce new tissue, bone density, all of those things, it stops working. And in your middle age, basically in your 40s, 50s, and 60s is a crucial time that if you're not taking care of your insulin and taking care of that, a slew of autoimmune issues like type 2 diabetes, Alzheimer's disease, your cognitive abilities actually decline at that time even more, right? So our body again is constantly in trying to reset its hormones and actually get back to a point of equilibrium. So when you are in such a mode of having pro-inflammatory foods, that is sugar, excessive carbohydrates, then basically you're never going to get back to balance. And if you think you're going to have, that excessive carbohydrates and sugar all day long, that is a slow drip. Okay. That's a slow drip that's signaling to your brain, I don't know what to do with it. Just store fat, just store fat. And insulin resistance, causes heart disease, causes polycystic ovarian disease. It causes inflammation of the liver and psoriasis, hypertension, obviously intra-abdominal fat. And I'm going to get into more of that tomorrow in terms of body composition. But if you are carrying your middle like body fat around your middle, that is dangerous visceral fat around your organs. And that's when your health begins to decline. So if you are carrying excessive belly fat, that is very important to change completely. So insulin resistance happens over time and it can be healed. It actually is a disorder. So it's very important to have nutrient dense foods, and this food is medicine for you and for your body. Your body begins to read things differently when it's not in a wrapper box or a carton. Okay. And so What is paleo? Have you guys heard of paleo? What is a paleo diet? So paleo is not just a meat diet. It actually means that it's an ancestral diet. And that what it means is eating as closest to the source as possible, eating good amounts of animal protein, including fish, pork, eggs, organ meats, shellfish, if you don't have any sensitivities, and red meat. Okay, there's nothing wrong with red meat. The quality of foods in the U.S. and around the world has declined, so you have to be choosy about where your food is coming from. So having grass-fed meat, pasture-raised, knowing coming directly from the farm is really important. Eating low and moderate amounts of fruits and nuts. You think nuts are healthy for you, but actually can be affecting your digestive system. So avoiding grains like wheat, rice, barley, corn, avoiding legumes like beans, soy, lentil, peanuts, avoiding dairy like milk, creams, and excessive amounts of sugar, cheese that have casein and inflammatory chemicals in there through preservatives. We want to stay away from avoid processed and artificial sweeteners. Okay. Um, Anything with a flavoring in your food, in terms of just even flavorings in your coffee creamers, are chemicals that our body stores in our body fat. So those things, like even salad dressings, even things that we don't even think about, flavorings that make our water taste better, our food taste better, things that are flavorings are produced in a factory. And it's produced in a factory to make things taste better so that you buy more. And those kind of flavorings and artificial sweeteners, and if you see on the package, wherever you are in this world, that you don't understand what's in the package, then it's most likely a chemical that's being stored in your body fat. And when you are storing that in your body fat and your insulin is not working, then basically what happens is you start it getting inflamed more and more, because it's in your body fat. It's in your adipose tissue that you're carrying around every single day. And what happens when you're 40, 50, 60 is, as you age, you're carrying that around and you start having issues. Has anybody experienced this or want to talk about this or have questions? Any questions at all? I want to take a pause. And you can unmute yourself if you want to. But, you know, there's already vegetables and foods in nature that is naturally sweet. Think about that. So natural sweeteners are from maple syrup from trees or honey from bees. Natural sweeteners in foods, natural sweet foods, are sweet potatoes or sweet peppers. These foods are naturally sweet. And those are not sweet to most people who are on a very high sweet, hyper palatable diet. So if you've been having excessive carbohydrates and sugar every single day, all day long, then basically what happens is you are so used to this level of sweetness in your mouth that really healthy food and vegetable foods don't taste good. And that's when people don't like vegetables. So Teresa says, so many friends have leaky gut syndrome and always worried about people pop Tums and antacids. Yes. So if you are having acid reflux, if you are having you're having constipation or diarrhea, there's something going on. If you're having excessive gas, that's not good. Your body should normally be absorbing your food. What is that signaling to you is that you're not digesting your food. And you start breaking down your gut barrier, your lining of your stomach and your intestines and your pancreas. all those, it's a fine lining, so that you can actually absorb nutrition and distribute nutrition. And if that gut lining is broken because you've had chemicals in your food and artificial sweeteners and preservatives in your food, then actually you have to heal your gut. It takes time to heal your gut. Doris asks, are chickpeas, and there's a couple questions about legumes and beans. Why not beans? Okay, so beans are very difficult to digest, and it is significantly high in carbohydrates. So, although it is good in protein levels, it's a good substitute, it is also high in carbohydrates. So for those people who are trying to lose 20, 30, 50 pounds of body fat, or have the middle-aged middle and the belly fat that they want to get rid of, having beans on a day-to-day basis is nutrient poor for you. It's actually creating more body fat because you're having excessive everything else. So it's not that beans or lentils are not good for you. They have B vitamins and folates and good nutrition in it. But if you are on a weight loss program, having excessive beans are not good for you. And if you have leaky gut and you're not digesting your food and you have gas and you have constipation for days, beans are not the right formula for you. And, again, I really recommend that we set up that one-on-one, because everybody is a little bit different. Everybody's a little bit different. But cutting out your grains and legumes from your diet can make a world of a difference if you are experiencing pain and inflammation in your joints, or in your belly, or in your acid reflux, or in your gut. If you are experiencing even joint pain, knee pain, elbow pain, or having difficulty sleeping, cutting that grain level, including rice, can make a world of a difference. And believe me, I'm Korean, and I know plenty of people who are Korean who eat lots of rice, and that's like a diet that they normally go to. But believe it or not, even Asian Americans have such excessive amounts of rice that they get pre-diabetic. They get type 2 diabetes. How do you keep yourself full if you don't eat rice and beans? See, Doris is eating mostly rice and beans. But how you get full, okay? How do you satiate is really having enough protein. Okay, so I just want to clarify, what is a dietary paleo eating is a dietary approach. It's a way of eating. It's not a diet. It's a way of eating. Eating is closest to the source without a box, wrapper, so forth. Okay, no bag. Okay, that the food comes in. But I want to distinguish what's the difference between a ketogenic diet and a paleo way of eating. A ketogenic diet is really incorporating more fats. You see, the nuts and berries are at the top of the chain, so that means you just have little of those, right? You don't see a lot of fruit. So the bottom of the pyramid is more of what you should have, more, okay? But in a ketogenic diet, which is a high fat, moderate protein, low carb diet, eliminates bread, pasta, sugar, milk, corn, beans, rice. And when your body recognizes your meats, your eggs, and your dairy, or your green vegetables and your healthy fats as a source of fuel, then your body does something different. It actually doesn't recognize bread, pasta, sugar, milk, corn, beans as a way of energy. And you start actually gobbling up body fat. It's a transition that happens, and it's called being fat adapted. When you are taking a way of eating as a paleo, whole foods, real foods, without coming from the farm that you pick out, right? The bottom of that is having real meat, real eggs, real steaks, real fish. That should be the majority of your foods. But you see, again, on the paleo diet or a paleo approach to eating, there's no rice, there's no corn, there's no dairy, there's no beans or nuts, there's no or peanuts or certain kinds of legumes, and there's no bread. So you say, how do I live without bread and rice, right? Doris is like, how do I make myself full without the beans and the rice? This is how you make yourself satiated. And this is the most effective way to actually reintroduce a way of eating that helps gobble up body fat. So, in a ketogenic diet, it's really a very, very low carbohydrate diet. That means under 30 grams, under 50 or 30 grams of carbohydrates in one day. And under a paleo way of eating, it's not necessarily low carb, because paleo can mean you're eating a lot of starchy vegetables like potatoes and eggplant and turnips and carrots. Those are starchy vegetables that actually accumulate carbohydrates. So even in vegetables, there's carbohydrates, right? But you have to kind of take that all into account in your daily consumption. So typically, keto eating is a way of precisely measuring our macros. Okay. So precisely. May says, luckily I've stopped taking bread, soft drink, and reduced grain only once a day. Yes. Okay. That's great. But think about this. What does 30 grams of carbs look like? Let's look on the right hand side of this chart here. Where is measuring? If you're measuring your macros, what's the difference? It's like 5 cups of raw broccoli versus half a cup of oats. So you can feel full on 5 cups of raw broccoli, right? But it has this 30 grams of carbs versus 5 cups of broccoli versus 1 Snicker bar, which also has sugar, which also has other chemicals in there, or half a bagel. So most people are not just eating half a bagel, they're eating a whole bagel. And then that's only one part of their day. And then they have lunch, and then they have dinner, and then they have their snacks. Remember, we did a whole day of consumption. So this starts to accumulate. So if you're able to reduce your amount of carbohydrates to less than 30 grams of carbs, you're going to be in a really good position to lose body fat. It's really difficult, though, I want to say, to get from a high carbohydrate diet to a very low carb diet, a keto way of eating. And I'm not saying that certain keto, like you see all on the internet, incorporate keto diets and how people are losing weight and stuff like that. Yes, it's an effective way to eat, but changing your macros. But essentially, some people who are eating ketogenically are eating unhealthy foods that have chemicals, sweeteners, and other things in it that we don't need. So if you are on the verge of showing up with symptoms of inflammation or pain or digestive issues, you have to be very, very careful. I don't transition people from a high carbohydrate diet directly to keto. There are multiple steps that happen in between. Just like when we say, I know what to do, but I'm not doing it. There's so many steps to actually get to knowing what to do and doing it, right? It's not just saying stop eating sugar, right? It's like that's too simplistic. You can actually, so many steps that our bodies have to get unhooked from our brain. Our bodies, our brains are hooked to that sugar. So that's why we want more of it. So Doris asks, do you believe in intermittent fasting along with keto diet? Yes, but it's very difficult to jump into intermittent fasting successfully. And it's hard to sustain. It's hard to sustain. The only reason in my programs, I really help people lose the sugar taste, lose the sweet taste, and really transition healthfully. So they don't feel deprived or like they feel like on a diet. They feel like they're really making that transition successfully. So again, it's about habitual learning. You know, we can't really train our body until we get it into practice. And we talked about that yesterday, how we feel and our emotional and having clarity about our goals and clarity about what we need to do from our habits. How we need to feel actually affects how we're going to do things and how we're going to be. So, I'm going a little over my time because I got a little taken away. Please unmute yourself if you have any questions right now. Any questions? Who has
No
questions?
questions, Tina.
Who's
These
that?
were amazing, and your information was awesome. Thank you so much.
Okay, Teresa, thank you so much for joining me, but still stick on for a few more minutes, okay? If you can. Who else has questions? Anybody else has questions? May, do you have questions?
Oh yes, I just want to ask, yeah, like chicken, yeah, is it the skin, is it safe to eat or not?
What is that again? Say
The
that.
chicken, the chicken.
Yes, yes, chicken
The
is good.
skin.
Yes, it's
The
good.
skin is good, right?
Yes, the chicken skin. Yes, absolutely. Chicken skin is healthy for you. Actually, that's a natural fat. Yeah, actually, chicken skin is like the most nutritious part of it. That is a fat, right? And people usually take the skin off, but actually, you need that. You need those kind of animal fats to actually feel nourished and satiated. And it's not bad for you. It's actually wonderful for your hair, skin, and nails. There's a lot of collagen in the joints of animal foods, right? In the bone broths, in the chicken joints, in the chicken feet, right? Those are all wonderful things, parts of nature that God gave us that actually is very important. So actually, if you are in your midlife and actually feeling dry, if your skin is dry and your hair is dry and your nails are dry and not growing as fast, you may be actually missing a good amount of fats in your diet and you need that. So that's a very good question, May. So we are so like wasteful about the animal proteins that we have on a day-to-day basis. And what the thing is, like in ancestral times, they never wasted one part of an animal, chicken or a fish. Even the bones of a fish can be made into a broth. That is micronutrients that is so good for you. Sometimes I go to the fish market and just ask for the bones to make a bone broth. And that is nutrition that you need for your hair, skin. That's collagen that keeps your skin young and that keeps your hair and even your inside organs and your gut healthy. So, what I mean, some people fry that skin and that's not so good because when you're using bad oils, that is not good because that is pro-inflammatory, that causes inflammation. So if your fat cells are already full of chemicals and then you pour oil on bad oil, processed oil like vegetable oil, seed oils, peanut oil, those are not good for you. Those are not good oils. So if you're cooking with that, you should be cooking with tallow, with butter, with olive oil. Okay. And there's a whole different range of olive oils too, but you need to have healthy fats into your diet. And to be choosy about your fats is very important. So if you are cooking with vegetable oil, you are just pouring, propane, you're pouring fuel onto the fire and your body is unable to heal itself and to heal the gut. And so when you are overweight in your middle belly and you're not feeling good, you don't feel energetic, it is about a sign that you need to heal your body. So it's not just about being fat. Actually, you actually lose weight by healing your body. That's the way it goes. Anybody else have questions?
Another thing, yeah, the portion for a person to eat, yeah, usually how much? Would there be any limits or not?
Yes, so it really depends on your height and your age and kind of where you're at. But typically, this is where it's very customized for you. Like it's very specific for you, but you need to have like, at the minimum of 50, 60 grams of protein a day, minimum. But that is like, maybe that's just for a skinny person, you know? So really book that one-on-one with me, and I'm going to tell you what you specifically need. Everybody needs something different, and what is typically going on with you. And it's hard for me to give a one size fits all. And that's the truth of it all. Everybody says on the internet, this is what you should eat, but you know what? Everybody does this themselves, and then they fail. They don't do well. And because you're taking these things, information on the internet, and it doesn't apply to everybody. Everybody's in a different place. Everybody's at a different age. Everybody has different levels of inflammation. So I'm an investigative reporter as a coach, and I ask you specific questions about your past, how you ate, maybe even how your mother ate. So even in the womb, when you were in the womb, how your mother ate actually affects your palatability and what your food inclination is. So there's so much history behind that. I hope that answers your question, May. That was
All
a
right,
very
thank
good
you.
question. Yeah.
Yeah.
You get the total prize for joining us for so late. But really book that one-on-one session with me. I want to tell you about my upcoming 6-week program. It's called Thrive Health and Weight Loss Accelerator. And basically, I'm going to be starting in a couple of weeks. And this is a program that is valued at $1,000 to be in a group. And I only have 10 spots. It's going to be a small group, and you're going to meet with me every week, and we're going to make this transition together. And so this opportunity is coming up. I wanted to tell you about it today just to give you a heads up, but I want you to book those one-on-one sessions with me, because that's an application to join my program, and because I'm not going to let anybody in who's not serious. And so what you're going to get is to retrain your mindset, habits, and eating. I'm going to help you get to a paleo and low carb diet through that transition. I'm going to give you a supplement review so you know what to supplement with if your foods that you're eating right now are not giving you all the nutrition you need. And over 6 weeks, you can lose up to 15 pounds of body fat. And tomorrow, I'm going to talk about body composition, because this is very, very important to understand. I don't look at the overall scale number. That doesn't matter to me. It matters less to me. Okay. We will look at the total overall scale number, but it's all about body fat composition. And I'm going to get into the science of that and tell you, explain to you why it's so important. And that is the number one way of measuring if you are actually succeeding in your weight loss goals. And it's a number one indicator to actually see if you are healing your body. So if you apply and book that one-on-one with me at tinyurl.com/unstoppable health, book that with me by Friday. If you get accepted into my program, and it will require some questions, I'm going to give you 2 private coaching sessions. And this is going to accelerate your weight loss. When you work with a coach, you accelerate your weight loss goals. You actually accelerate and know what to do on a week-to-week, day-to-day basis. And basically what it is right now, I'm offering the insider VIP group because you guys participated. This is where, I'm giving you an amazing deal of $597 for working with me in a private 6-week group that we're going to get into what we need to do, and we're going to problem solve around your nutrition, weight loss. And I'm only going to keep it a small group. We start in in the middle of January, like in a couple of weeks. So there's only going to be limited spots. Typically, this program is $1,000, and just right now, I'm going to, through the end of this week, offer it to you for $597. I really would encourage you to take advantage of the 2 private sessions, because everybody is different. And I can't really recommend, and most people just join these free things and just kind of getting along and think they can do it on their own, but they don't. They end up failing over and over and over again. So I would like you to apply and join me in the 6-week program coming up. I would love to get a wonderful group with May, Teresa, Lisa, Doris. I want you to, and the people in the Make Life Delicious group page, to join in this group and get the accountability and support and guidance you need. You will have everything you need to make this transition happen. So book that one-on-one. And again, the tinyurl.com/unstoppable health. Book that one-on-one because it's super valuable. That's a $300 value that I'm giving you my time for free. So book that. At least you'll walk away. If you don't want to join the group program, that's fine. But like, at least you'll walk away with some recommendations. Okay. So tomorrow we're going to get into improving your body composition, and I have someone so amazing coming up. Frederick Hahn from Slow Burn Fitness. He is actually internationally renowned, known from all over the world for helping people do slow training fitness. And it's a method of exercise that actually has produced amazing results for millions of people. He's written 2 books, and he's going to be joining us tomorrow, and I'm super excited. So we're going to get into the mechanics of what does it mean to have better body composition. Okay, Teresa, thank you for joining. We'll see you tomorrow. Okay, don't miss out on tomorrow. So we will see you tomorrow, and don't miss out on this. Please book your one-on-one before the end of the week so that you can apply to the program. And I will see you guys. Give me one takeaway before you jump off. Any one takeaways? One takeaway. What did you get from today? One takeaway. Just chat it in or put it into the comments. Don't forget to do your homework too. Any one takeaway? Intake of food. Yeah, yeah. Okay, good, May. Any other takeaways? Well, hopefully we'll get some comments coming into the group. Thank you for joining me today, and I will see you tomorrow at 12 o'clock. Brain food. Yes, brain feed. That's right, May. Yeah, you are learning so much. You know what, you're going to be successful in this group program. I think this will be for you because you will just be amazed how much you learn about your body and what it needs to actually feel nourished and to actually heal your body. So don't forget to do your homework assignments, because I'm going to give you this is what is your nutrient dense food plan, nutrient poor. What are you going to eliminate, drop in your plan? This is up on the group page now. I want you to comment below in this. And basically, if, what I'm going to do is, if everybody does their homework by Thursday and catches up, I'm going to scholarship 1 seat in my group program, 100% for free. So I want you to really go back and do your homework every day, the day 3 action, day 1, 2, 3. And I will announce the winner on Friday, your homework assignments. Okay. So please get in to have a 1 scholarship seat to join in my group coaching program. Okay. So just a little bit, adding a little pressure on you. And so that you really think about what your gap is, and basically what nutrient poor foods that you'll drop in your plan. And what was the second one? I forget the second one. Geez. What is your gap? And the second one, I'm just kind of blanking for a second. We talked about that. Just doing a review. So we're doing a review of this. Where's your gap? What new habit you will try. So day 2 is what new habit you will try. Put it into the picture, under the picture in the group page, okay? What new habit you will try and what nutrient poor food you will drop. So these are little things. So if you participate in all the action, I will give a scholarship away to my group program. Okay. Thank you for joining me today. I hope that was really helpful. And I hope, give me a yay or nay if that was good. Thumbs up. Okay. And if you're watching the replay, please comment that you did watch the replay. Give me a yay, hey, I love it. I'm in, count me in into the 6-week program, group program, and jump in. And give me your comments. Let me know how I did as a teacher, okay? What you took away. Give me one takeaway in the comments. We'll see you guys soon. See you tomorrow at 12 p.m. Don't miss tomorrow because we have a really great expert coming in, Frederick Hahn. See you soon.